Hey, everybody. We're just doing mic checks. Go ahead and everybody and do your mic checks.
Check,
Check.
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 Okay, awesome.
I'm kind
We're
of
just
loud.
about to go live, so in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, we should be live pretty soon.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a little loud.
Yeah, I'll fix it. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You are listening to the Tower Radio, and we
We.
are the
We.
Doghouse.
I was like, someone, please.
We're hosts, the Dog Pack, bringing you what I like to think is the greatest radio program in the history of Tower Radio. We're your hosts, Husky, Dingo, and Updog.
Hey, what's up, fellow gamers?
Nice.
Like he said, you're listening to the Doghouse, the greatest gaming show ever. I like to think, like the greatest one of all time.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Can't prove me wrong. You probably can.
It's a matter of opinion.
Name a better
My
trio.
opinion
I'll
is
wait.
Right. Name a better trio.
I'll wait.
I can't.
I can't.
He's got me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Ultimate trios right here.
I just got
For
ding-
radio.
Oh. I don't even know any trios for
Manson
radio.
family. I'm joking.
Oh, whoa!
I'm joking.
No.
All right. That was a bit risque. Okay.
Okay, let's.
I'm gonna go ahead and transition. There are a lot
That's a
of
good
things.
idea.
They're gonna have to update
Yeah.
the
so many things for me to keep track of.
It's okay. Let's go ahead and jump into weather. Make sure we
Yes.
don't spend too much time
Let's jump into the weather. Let's get this show off
with a bang.
to a bang,
Let's
to
do
a
it.
start, to at least a start. So it is currently today. It is November 1st. We are beginning the winter trek. It's cold outside.
Yeah.
55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius. Everybody's getting colder and slower, and I am only getting faster.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I'm definitely getting slower. So
I'm ready to start hibernation.
Humidity right now is 33%. Wind speed is calm, so it's not windy at least. Because in Oklahoma, around this time, this is when it
Cold
started
and
getting
windy.
windy, and it cut through your soul.
that is very true. Very, especially early in the morning. Ooh,
Yeah,
it was
it was-
cold.
But yeah, the high is supposed to be. We're right now at the high, so it's supposed to be 55 degrees today. The low for tonight is 34 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's almost below
It's
freezing.
gonna get chilly. Tomorrow there's gonna be patchy frost apparently, and the high is supposed to be 56, and then the low is once again low 30s, low 32. So it's getting chilly, but there's no cloud cover, so there's no insulation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Excellent.
it's gonna be chilly the next few days, but
No
we
fun.
will endure
We
as
shall.
we always do. Dogs never die.
Dogs never die.
They're just missing in action.
All right, yeah. Let's just jump ahead.
This is the this is the first time I have no response. I don't know what to say. This has never happened to me before.
Oh no. Okay.
I'm just
So-
like, oh.
We're gonna get off the weather, and we're gonna go into the verse of the day. Today's verse of the day is Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18. Having the eyes of your hearts enlightened, that you may know what is the hope to which he has called you. What are the riches of his glorious inheritance in the saints?
I feel like this is a verse I would need context on. I'll be honest, purely because, and that's my only thing. I love verses of the day, but
We
sometimes
should use a different site.
maybe.
Yeah.
But sometimes, well, even no matter what site you go to, like Elliot uses the Bible Apps website. But to me, I think you always just need context because otherwise it's like, what in the world does some verses mean? A great example is my college pastor, actually. He opened up his Bible and pointed to a random verse, and it said, "Why did I not die the day I was born?" And I was like, oh.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like, you
Well-
need context onto why someone would ever say that.
Well-
So,
I would think there must be Bible like verse of the day programs that pick verses you don't need as much context for, or the ones that are more clear.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this one isn't too bad, but there's a couple that are a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just how it is. It's still a good verse.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just,
Once again, that's Ephesians chapter 1, verse
Verse 18.
18.
Yep.
Moving on. Let's just jump into the top of the hour.
Sweet.
Let's just
Bum,
get,
bum,
let's
bum,
just
bum,
get
bum, 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 top of the
Dun.
hour.
top of the hour.
Top of the hour.
Stop trying to one-up me.
It was an echo.
You're
tried to-
fired.
Oh my goodness! It was just trying to echo. It was an effect.
He jumped in while I was doing the ba 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 ba, and then he tried to one up you. I think. Are you okay, Dingo?
I'm just getting a lot of one-ups.
Is this a cry for help?
trying to get a few lives? You know.
You need one. Yeah.
Oh.
sure
Oh,
It
no.
was taken from. I'm kidding.
That one's going up on the board.
Oh.
That one's going
The
up
board
on
of
the board.
Dingo's Game Goofs.
That board's really big. I'm just gonna warn you.
Game Goofs.
At the end of
Can
the
we make that a thing?
At the end of the year, I'll read off
Can we
all your Game
please?
Goofs.
Yeah.
I
Do it.
would
Put
absolutely
in
do
there.
it.
Make the list.
Dingo's
Here we
Game
go.
Goofs.
You just made the list.
Yes. I'm actually okay with
You
that.
finally got your own thing on the show.
Dingo's Game
I finally have
Goofs.
importance.
All right.
That was my cry. I wanted something important.
What do you got?
Since the focus
Logan
is on
answered.
you can start us off with your top of the hour.
Awesome. I'll do that. So, for my top of the hour today, I'm going to talk about 3DS. We thought it was dead, and it is.
Yeah.
But the Nintendo Japanese president, Shintaro Furukawa, I think I said that right. Anyways, he actually has a quote. He said the company would start moving 3DS franchises onto the Switch, which is an obvious business move. It makes a lot of sense. But that means games like Professor Layton, the Pokemon games are already on the Switch or getting on the Switch. Even Brain Age, which Brain Age was announced not that long ago. But just different games like that that are popular on the 3DS are going to be moving onto the Switch. So that's actually really cool for me. I had a 3DS, and I liked a lot of the games on there. So I think this is good news for Nintendo because it means more money for them.
Much excitement.
Yeah, it makes sense that they're kind of leaning into the mobile market with the Switch, since it can do that.
Exactly.
Magic.
All right, who wants to jump in next?
Speaking of magic, speaking of magic, that goes right into my top of the hour.
Okay.
Disney classic platformers for the Sega Genesis, the Aladdin and Lion King video games are getting physical and digital releases on the Switch. These are both
I like those.
I've never played them, but they're both really critically acclaimed platformers. They're really, really well-known Genesis games. It's a little weird that they're getting released, but I'm not complaining. I guess I'll play them.
Am I the only one that's played them at this table?
I'm not much of a Sega guy, I guess.
It was on Nintendo too.
Oh, really?
It was on the Game Boy. It was on the NES. I think there was in Super Nintendo.
And these are the Lion King and Aladdin platformers.
Probably the only good movie video games.
So
Oh yeah,
we have
but they were
3D
really good.
We have 3DS games coming back. We have Disney platformers coming back.
Yeah.
Truly, this is. I'm pretty sure that Nintendo are necromancers.
But I will say this though, as someone that has played these games, they're actually really solid platformers. You wouldn't think that because, as we've said before, usually Disney games are kind of weird
We've
or
racked
they're
on
just
movie
okay.
games in general too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But these are solid games. So I would actually recommend, if you're into old school platformers, trying these out. They're
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I played the Sega Genesis version, so I recommend that one specifically because I'm a
Yeah, so if
Sega boy.
if you're into, like you said, if you're into old school platformers, or if you played this game and you want to give it another go, they're doing this one's a remaster, so all the graphics are kind of updated. I think
Awesome.
the UI and menu's better, so give it a shot if you feel so inclined.
Oh, I see what you did there. That was good.
What?
Inclined.
My name is Updog.
Okay. I just okay.
Speaking of things that won't die,
Dingo's Game Goofs.
That's another game goof. Look
It's
at
another
that.
game goof.
so the Kakarot trailer came out. We both watched it. We all watched it.
We
Yeah.
did.
It was good.
Yeah.
There's baseball in it.
That's like one of my favorite things is you can play baseball.
Baseball in it. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. Is it a fighting game? Is it an RPG?
I think the answer to that's yes.
That's not an answer I want to hear.
Mm.
I don't like those two things mixing.
Oh, really?
They were gonna do that with Street Fighter 5 originally, and then they scrapped it.
This is a
Really?
terrible
Yeah.
idea. Yeah,
It would have been only marginally worse than what we got. But
You're not wrong.
Kakarot trailer, at least the visual, like the animation and like stuff looks cool. The blast effects look neat. It was in Japanese voices. I don't like those, but I
Maybe
don't
they
know.
won't
I'm
stay
not
that
a big
way.
Dragon Ball Z guy. I haven't been in
Yeah.
a while. Looking at it, it looks the game. I mean, it looks smooth,
Sure.
I guess, but
It looks
like
fine.
it doesn't look so much better than every other thing we've got. I think Dragon Ball Fighters was probably the best Dragon Ball game that we could have hoped for, and honestly, because
Fighters was good.
Yeah.
that was a good fighting game. That stormed the FGC for a while there. So,
Mm.
but yeah, I don't know. Watch the trailer. It's up right now. They've got some interesting. It's mostly going over the Boo saga. All the character models look pretty good. Yeah. It doesn't look like, but there was one thing I noticed that I had to complain about, and that was the lip flapping. It was kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But-
always bad in those games, I'll be honest.
Well, yeah, and they're trying to make it sell it like it's something that's gonna be new, and I'm like, I'm not. I don't know.
It
Yeah.
feels like they sat down and they looked at all their like Dragon Ball Z games. It's like the time has come once again to do this. the ritual must be reenacted. We must make another Dragon Ball game. What part of the story have we not tapped into? Boo Saga. Okay, slap that on a box. I'll send it out there. I'm calling it right now. I don't think this is going to be a super good game.
I think a lot of people are going to buy it purely
Yeah.
because it's Dragon Ball.
Fans of
but
Dragon Ball will probably enjoy it, but like, it's probably not going to be that good.
let me just say, these fans of Dragon Ball have literally probably gone through the story of Dragon Ball Z a lot.
I would think so. Yeah.
Like, maybe 50 times, considering how many Dragon Ball games there's been.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's
Mm.
kind of crazy to think about. They know the story like the back of their hands now.
But yeah, that's all that we have for that trailer. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I want to see actual gameplay that's not baseball. Although the baseball thing is interesting.
They did have some fighting. They had a little bit.
Baseball.
Yeah, it
They
has
s-
a little bit. It looked like almost like they were going back to the old 3D fighter.
It looked like
right?
Xenoverse, kind of. Yeah.
Xenoverse.
Well, the way that it
Yeah.
did. I
yeah.
mean,
No, I'm
right.
not. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
know.
Like, Xenoverse.
the first one was okay. The second one was really bad.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. I got one more top of the hour.
Oh.
So, coming with the new month, there are new games,
Games.
free ones.
Free ones.
Free games.
Yes, every month Xbox and PlayStation both try to flex at each other by giving us free games that we can download. So I'll go over the Xbox games for gold ones since those are marginally worse. So you're gonna get the Sherlock Holmes: The Devil's Daughter. That's a free for Xbox games for gold. You can download this for free. You can play it for free.
Sweet.
Available November 1st through the 30th. It's developed by the Sinking City developer Frogwares. This sleuth 'em up puts you in the shoes of the world's most famous fictional detective. Blah, blah, blah. I haven't played it. It's a Sherlock Holmes game. It doesn't sound like something that's going to be
Up my
I
alley.
riveting.
I played a couple of the Frogware Sherlock Holmes games. They're all pretty good.
Okay.
This one's like the most recent one, so it's it's just more it's
Hmm.
it's hard to describe the Sherlock Holmes games. They're like it's like mystery it's point and click, but it's really good. I
Okay.
guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the long and short of it.
Cool. So, I mean, I'm
bad.
glad we had somebody who actually played these games. So,
Yeah.
There's one about
it's point and click, but it's not bad. So,
there's one
it's free. Give it a try.
there's one where he investigates the cult of Cthulhu. That one's my favorite.
Okay.
It's
Wow.
really good. Yeah, it gets into some Lovecraftian stuff.
Dadgum.
Anyway,
What's
that-
what's the other one?
the other one, oh, he like fights.
Oh no, I'm saying like what's the other free game?
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad. I should have clarified that.
Yeah, it's cool.
The other free game, well, there's a few, not just these two. It's the
Okay.
Final Station. It'll be available November 16th through December 15th. So, apparently, according to Games Radar, it's a cross between Snowpiercer and Resident Evil.
Wow.
It's pixel art, shoot 'em up. Sees you keep a train full of survivors alive from infected monsters who roam the world. Yeah, that sounds interesting. And that's going to be free
That's not
November
bad.
16th through December 15th.
Nice.
The next one, I think this one is free for. It just says Xbox. I don't know if that means Xbox One.
I'm betting it was a game originally for Xbox.
Yeah, maybe.
I can double check that real quick.
But yeah, it's Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. It's free. So I think it's just like all about flying ships and basically dogfights in space.
That's
with
pretty
the
cool.
Star Wars ships. So
I like space.
It was originally for the Xbox.
I like dogs
space.
too.
That's what it's saying with that.
Wait a minute.
It was originally for Xbox.
Dogfights in space? They argue about video games
In space?
That's why didn't we do that?
We are doing that.
Well, now we have to go to
What?
space.
The studio's in an undisclosed location on the
Hubble telescope.
That's a disclosed location. You told them where we are
Yeah.
now.
Oh no.
Now we have to move
That's not even
locations
in
again.
Space. It's not even in space. I was going
That's
to say
true.
the international, the
I don't know.
ISS.
I just named the first space thing that came to mind.
Hubble
He
Space
doesn't even know where we
Telescope.
I don't even know what space is, if I'm being honest. The world's flat, right?
Oh
He
goodness
doesn't even know where we
me!
are right now.
This is not good. We're gonna have
Nope.
to teach him some things.
It's ironic because my name's Updog and I don't know what's above me every day.
You've been eating
Space.
He
astronaut
doesn't know
food
what's
for 3
up.
weeks. How do you not know where we are?
Oh boy.
But yeah, and then you got Joyride Turbo. That's a free November 16th, November
Kart
30th.
racer.
Once again, the Jedi Starfighter, that's November 1st through November 15th. So you can get that right now. But yeah, you can also
That's not
check.
bad.
You can also just Google these, and they'll tell you what free games are out right now. But yeah, if you want to check on those and give a little review, but they're all going to be free, so just download them, give them a try.
Yeah.
Why not? If
There's
you own an
no-
Xbox.
No pain.
So, for PS Gold, I was actually a little bit excited about at least one of these. So November's free games for PlayStation Plus subscribers have been are going to be Neo, which is a Dark Souls-esque game set in feudal Japan. Sort of like Sekiro before Sekiro was around, but it's a lot more to do with like Japanese mythology and stuff. I don't know. I haven't played it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but
That's pretty
I'll
cool.
see.
Yeah.
I'll download it and I'll give it a try. And the second game is going to be Outlast 2, which is a first-person horror game. So
Nice.
Sounds
those
pretty
are the
sweet.
free games for November. So download those, give them a try. Let us know what you think. But that's all we
Yeah.
have for our top of the hour, I believe, unless you guys want to add something.
I don't have
Too bad you
anything.
can't.
Okay,
We've been vetoed.
I just said I didn't have anything. That's all I was saying. Anyway, okay,
All right.
let's go.
If that's all we got for top of the hour, I guess.
We're going to take a
yeah.
quick ad and song break, but when we get back, we are going to have an interview. We're going to have a review
interview.
in studio by a man who has played every single Luigi's Mansion,
I did.
Ever.
I beat them all.
even the secret one that nobody knows about.
Luigi's Mansion, Escape from the Hubble Telescope.
Ezio was in that one.
Ezio was
Yeah,
that one.
dude. Ezio was pretty cool.
This you fight the ghost of Ezio.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's gonna give us a Luigi's Mansion 3 review. Our man Updog. And then after that, later in the show, we're going to have a dog fight. We wanted to do this in Halloween, but we didn't really. The month kind of
We're
left
the
us.
day behind.
We're a day
Yeah.
behind. It's still a
That's
little.
okay.
We got residual spooky vibes. Okay.
Yes, we're
The
still
ghosts-
spooky.
The ghosts don't know what time it is. They haven't left yet.
Luigi's Mansion versus Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. So, stay tuned. We're gonna be right back with those after a quick ad and song break. The song we're gonna be playing is Eggman by Paul Shortino and Jun Signal. It was part of the Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure 2. What?
John Sino.
John Sino. He was oh, it doesn't look like Sino.
I know it doesn't, but I've heard the name enough that
It's
I
part
just
of-
remember.
It was part of the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and in '09 it was me, your fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when one of my embers landed on dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. You are listening to the Tower Radio, and you're tuned in right now, at this very moment, to the Doghouse. We're your hosts, the Dog Pack. I'm Husky. This is Dingo. Say hi.
Hello.
And this is Up Dog.
Ruff ruff.
Hey, what's up, fellow gamers? Like he said, you're listening to the Doghouse.
You sound more dead each time.
It's because he's getting into spooky. He's about to do the thing.
Oh boy.
The important thing. The
Remembering
big
how he
thing.
got like 4 hours of sleep the night he got it.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
I've been playing it really late into the night
I
these
mean-
past 2 days.
You kind of have to
Um,
play the game at nighttime, right?
Well,
Were you spooked?
I have yeah.
Did it scare you?
There are actually a couple of jumps in this one. It's not
Can't
like
wait for
yeah.
you to tell us
I'm
about 'em.
excited.
It doesn't. I think the first thing about this game,
Should we explain what game we're talking
Yeah,
about for
I
those
was
that
gonna
just
say,
tuned in?
We're
you
coming
guys
back.
you just started asking me questions like,
We
oh, they're gonna
mentioned-
jump right into it. Okay,
We
that's fine.
mentioned that
Sorry.
we're gonna come back in and right now we're gonna do a Luigi's Mansion 3 review. Or at least we aren't, but my good friend Updog is.
Yep, that's me.
He's an Updog.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the game as soon as it was available. I'm a huge Luigi's Mansion fan ever since back in the day. I think it's the first Luigi's Mansion was the very first game I ever bought with my own money.
Wow.
Yeah. But this is the third one in the series. The last one, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, was a bit of a misstep due to some limitations on the 3DS. But this one kind of goes back into the older formula of having like it's set in this big hotel where you go floor to floor, interacting with the hotel to get to the top and rescue Mario and his friends. This is really like it's kind of surreal for me because it's like you hear they're doing like a game and you have so many ideas in your head of like, oh, I hope they do this or I hope they put this in, but like they actually did all the stuff that I wanted and they used a lot of the ideas that I came up with when I was just thinking about this game. So yeah, like I guess the first thing that, like about this game that I think is really impressive is it doesn't feel like you're playing a video game a lot of the time. Like it feels almost like you're like half of you is like watching a movie. Because like as Luigi is like going through these environments, like a lot of stuff goes off in the background. Like sometimes like a painting will fall off a wall or like steam will shoot out of a pipe, and Luigi reacts to all this stuff that's happening. So like I'm I'm moving Luigi around, but I'm also like watching him to see all these like quirky facial expressions and stuff that he goes through. Like this spider crawled across the floor at one point, and just the look of disgust on his face. It's exactly how I feel when I have to start the show.
Okay.
Oh no.
Excellent.
I'm winning the dog fight.
I sympathize
Yes.
with Luigi a great deal. But yeah. There's a lot of like in the original game, Luigi had like the suction move he could do with his poltergust. He had 3 different elemental like ammunition types he could get. In this one, he gets like a bunch of gadget upgrades to his vacuum. Like he can launch these suction cups on ropes and then then like suck the rope up into his pipe and then just kind of swing the object around. I smashed a toilet over a ghost's head. There's something really
Sounds awesome.
There's something really satisfying too about like sucking up the ghosts. Like in this one, you do like a slam move where instead of just like being dragged around by these ghosts, you like suck them up until you get like you fill up a little meter, and then you just slam them into the ground or like, and like most of the furniture in this game is interactive. So by the time the fight's over, like the rooms will just be destroyed. Like all the windows are broken, the furniture is just all over the floor. It's really great. Like I went into this China shop like on the mall floor, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna be bad.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, there's something really like there's one of the I'm not gonna spoil too much, but one of the areas is like a kitchen, and there's something really like satisfying about taking a ghost and slamming him into a lit stove over and over again until he dies. Again. Yeah.
I really want to play this game.
Something else really impressive that was really impressive to me, like as far as game design is the whole thing. You can play it in co-op by activating like this this thing called Luigi, which is a Luigi doppelganger made out of goo, which has horrifying lore implications. But he's real fun. He's a real goofy character. He wanders around. he can kind of T-1000 his way through a lot of obstacles. He can like walk through spikes or go between bars and go through pipes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and another player, like a player 2, can just pick up the controller and immediately start playing. And the whole game is kind of designed to be fun in single or multiplayer, which is like, I don't even know how you would do that, but it works pretty well. And it doesn't feel weird switching between the two. Like it feels pretty natural, and the camera switches between them pretty easily. Yeah, I love this game. Is probably one of like the best Switch game I've seen so far. Like it's just like on the edge of high definition. You know, like I was afraid it would be like super cell shaded, like a lot of the games have been so far, which is fine, but that doesn't really work for Luigi's Mansion. Like the game has always been about really tight, beautiful environments, and they did that really well in this title. I think I covered most of what I want to talk about. You guys got any questions or?
Does Luigi get scared too?
Luigi never. It's hilarious because like the ghosts, there's little cutscenes where the ghosts try to scare Luigi. He has no reaction at all. He just stares at him.
I have no soul.
I have no soul.
That makes me.
I want to scream, but I have no mouth.
I'm very much considering getting this game because, like you, I'm also a fan of Luigi's Mansion. So I've kind of been on the struggle bus, really, just thinking about if I really want to get this game or not.
Yeah.
And you may have just convinced me. It may happen at some
Favorite
point.
moment of the game thus far?
Favorite
true.
moment of the game thus
Without
far?
spoiling anything.
Without spoiling anything. Oh, that's hard. I think my favorite moment so far has been being. This is like first 5 minutes of the game, and it's been most of the trailer, so I think everyone knows about it. There's this bit where you like when you first get to the hotel, everything's like really picturesque and like shiny and golden. There's presents everywhere and balloons and stuff. It feels really nice. But then like you hear a scream in the middle of the night, and Luigi like wakes up, and everything sucks, and you know he's in it. He's in this. He's in the ghosts again. So he's wandering around the hotel. You make it like you go into like Mario and Peach's rooms trying to find them. Like Mario's room is covered in pizza boxes and garbage because he's a slob in this game, which I find fantastic.
That's funny.
Yeah, but like all the furniture is broken. Like he had this huge fight, and I was a little bit like, oh, this is a little Resident Evil, what they're doing here. And then I went to the next room, and like there was tea that was still like Peach's room. There was like tea on the table that was still hot, but like a single teacup, it was like broken on the floor. So I was like, okay, they got her like when she wasn't looking. So it like. They have a very visual storytelling style that I like. Like the game's always been about like observation and stuff.
Yeah, it's not super dialogue heavy. It's mostly about like things that you notice.
Yeah.
As Luigi notices.
The whole like.
Kind of goes. It almost like plays into itself because he sees most of the rooms with his like flashlight.
Yeah.
So you it makes you like look at the finer details of this room naturally. So it kind of plays into itself.
It's like in the first game. It was very much like that. Like it felt like the mansion itself was a character. You know, it kind of had so many.
Dog fight hasn't started.
Yeah,
yet.
But I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they kind of took that principle and stepped it up a notch. Because like, yeah, I went into this room and I looked around. And I saw the teacup was on the ground. I focused on that, and then Luigi went like, oh no, because like we both had the same thought process. I was like, oh man, Luigi. You're probably
in it now.
You're in it now, Luigi.
I do have one more question.
Yeah.
And this is kind of going off of what he had said earlier. In the original game, when you beat a room, it would light up.
Yeah.
And so does it do that in this one as well? Or does it still kind of stay dark until you do something special or anything like that?
It depends on the room. Some of the rooms you have to go through several times, and they kind of stay dark until like you fulfill like a bigger objective.
Okay.
Most of the rooms, like the smaller ones will light up, and they kind of become safe rooms where there's no ghosts until the power goes out. I know they're gonna do it again.
And
I know they're gonna do it.
Oh, I feel like they will. But
they won't trick me this time.
Usually that allows you to see more of the detail when the light's on.
That's true.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you sort of covered it earlier, but why don't you just run through like the first like 30 minutes or hour of this game?
Okay.
Just give us a little trailer of what to expect when you open up Luigi.
when you go into the mansion.
You got a
Luigi's Mansion
vacuum, you're
3,
gonna suck
otherwise known as
ghosts.
Luigi's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, so you like I said, you go to the hotel, everything's great, everything's really everything's really picturesque and nice. Oh my god, like I went into the lobby, I was walking around, I tried to stay away from most of the trailers of this bit of the game, but like everything's all shiny and golden and nice. All of the like the bellhops and stuff running around, they're clearly ghosts. It's obvious that they're ghosts. They're wearing like really dinky looking human masks. You can't see their legs. They're clearly ghosts, but no one notices this except for me because I'm the only one who pays attention. Gosh. But yeah. Everyone everyone goes to their rooms and like you hear a scream. Luigi kind of explores the first hallway just trying to find his friends, and there's a lot of evidence that they've been brutally kidnapped. You make it to the end of the hall, and like King Boo shows up, and they really did a great job of like redesigning him. He looks,
I'll pull him up. Actually.
yeah, he looks a lot more intimidating in this game. And he's also like big enough to take up the whole hallway. Like immediately after, yeah,
Him? Oh Lord.
yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, that scene that you're looking at right there, that's just like the first little encounter of the game. You have to run away from King Boo and get to the end of the hallway, and there's like a lot of luggage and like little luggage carts like in your way. And if even if you run past them, he'll like knock them out of the way and just like start breaking stuff and like eating it. It's really impressive what they did. Like it's not scary, but it's definitely kind of spooky. And then
Interesting.
yeah, and then like you get to the end of the hallway and he jumps down a dung waiter into the basement of the hotel. And so begins Luigi's Mansion Die Hard, the newest in the series. It is kind of Die Hard, if I'm being honest. It's a little bit Die Hard.
So, thus far,
Uh,
what would you give your experience with Luigi's Mansion?
Thus far, it's basically like everything I wanted it to be. I haven't beat it. I've only gotten past a couple of the floors. I'm taking my time and being really like thorough in my investigation of everything, which is how you're supposed to play it. But yeah, like I'm having a lot of fun just going like it seems like before it was like the fun was all about like seeing what was in the mansion and wondering what was around the next corner, but now I get to see all of Luigi's reactions to everything, which is like an added bonus. So
Excellent.
yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
It's really good.
Once again, that's Luigi's Mansion. It came out Halloween, but you can still get it even though it's not the spooky time, spooky month anymore. You can always have that spooky time with Luigi's Mansion 3. It is out right now. You can order that on the Switch, or you can get a digital copy at your local retailer. It sounds like a fun game. I don't think I ever owned the original Luigi's Mansion. I remember playing it a little bit whenever I was at like family's house, but yeah. I'm honestly a little bit interested. The only Luigi's Mansion that I can for sure remember the gameplay of was this one. It was like Dave and Buster's. But
Yeah.
It was like a.
Oh,
I remember that.
Yeah.
First person.
Yeah,
I've seen that. That one's actually kind of cool. It's an
Yeah.
interesting concept anyway.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so that's all we have for the Luigi's Mansion 3 review. Unless you have anything else you want to say.
Nope.
Anything else about Linguini?
Anything else about linguine? Oh, linguine's real good. It's one of my favorite Italian foods. I eat it every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I'm eating it right now.
I'm
And
eating
this
it right
is
now.
this is one of Dingo's game goofs.
This is one of my game goofs, I think.
Probably.
All right, no, I'm good. I'm done.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Oh boy.
I don't think he's happy with me.
I work with amateurs.
He's about to use the Power Smash badge on me.
Shut up! I don't get your references.
It's a Paper Mario reference.
Wow, that brings us
Into
Into the
already
thing.
the dog
You're
fight.
already behind. Okay. We're about to go. We're gonna take a quick ad and song break, and we'll be right back for this dog fight. Be sure to stay tuned in. It's gonna be a good dog fight.
It's gonna be really good.
Probably.
Oh, it is.
I
The
will
only way you're
bury
gonna find
you.
out is if you stay tuned in. You
That's
goof.
true.
You goof.
Don't make a game goof. Don't do it.
Don't make a game goof. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. So tell us, what are the games that you guys are representing again?
I am representing Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door for the Nintendo GameCube.
I am representing Luigi's Mansion, like the OG one for the GameCube. Now that I think about
That's
it.
on the subtitle. The OG one.
The OG one, the first one. It's like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Final Fantasy.
The
first one.
Final Fantasy, the first one.
That's
Boy.
fair.
All right. Well, so be sure, if you guys want to see that dogfight, see who comes out on top.
It's me.
Me.
I'm going to bury you. I'm going to turn you into a ghost and then catch you.
Stay tuned.
I'm gonna
We'll
get
be
a
right
lot of
back after an
experience
ad.
from beating you.
You're going to be listening to a Blooming Villain cover from Persona 5, and this is by Colby Dude. So be sure to stay tuned. Listen in. Listen to this cool remix. First, we got an ad for you. So stay tuned and don't touch that dial.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
and get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody. Oh, wait. Dingo's still got to get his headset
So
on.
sorry.
Look who wasn't prepared.
No, it
That'll
was
be 2 points on the dogfight.
What? No, I
Nice.
just
It's
okay.
over. You've lost.
Dang it.
All right. Tune in next week. No, I'm joking.
2
But
points is
Paper
all you need to
Mario
win?
deserves. Wouldn't
Oh,
that be
no.
sad?
That
It's
would be-
just 2 points.
That would be sad.
Oh man.
That's the threshold.
All right.
You will grovel to me for 1 point today. All right.
That's not how dogs gravel. You got to show your belly like this.
Oh, that's true. And just
Ooh,
look at
who's
him.
a good- Who's a good boy?
Oh, God, that's
Yeah.
a goal.
Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, he let me rub his tummy. That's a point.
No.
Yes. Yes. Physical contact
You're a bad
point.
dog. No. No.
That means I get a chance. Yes. I have a
Alright.
chance to win.
All right, all right,
If
all right.
you
all right.
haven't clued in to
What is this nonsense?
Wait. If you
What?
haven't
What
won,
just
if you
happened?
haven't clued in to this to what's happening, we're getting ready. We're getting geared up. We're getting fired up
Ooh.
for our next edition of the Dog Fight. Today's combatants
Ooh.
are Luigi's Mansion, the OG, versus Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door.
I'm going to bury
I like how you whispered that. That was cool.
Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door. Sounds spooky, but it's still a
Baby's
good game
first
from what I
RPG.
heard.
Sounds like what's in the door.
I haven't played either of these games. So
Oh, you haven't
guys-
played any of them, really?
I played a little bit of Luigi's Mansion, but not really. I don't really remember it. I was a boy. I was a wee boy.
I was just a boy.
So and I've seen both of these games played. So I have a very very tertiary idea
Sure.
of what goes on in them. So a little bit of a blank slate. You guys are kind of preaching at me about them. You're
Yes, I'm gonna preach.
giving your cases for either of them as to why
wrote an
one
entire
is better than the
sermon.
other. And remember, whoever loses, we track down every physical and digital copy of it and we destroy it.
Oh crap!
So-
I have to fight for this.
Does that
Man.
include the ones on Dolphin?
Yes.
Gosh.
Oh,
this is going to
no.
take forever.
was
Were
gonna
we
say,
supposed to
that's
be
gonna
doing
be
that
really
for the
bad.
last ones that lost?
I was doing them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wait, but does this include prequels or sequels to the game? Is it in the entire series?
No, we're
or
just
is it
doing
just
it-
this
we're
one
doing-
title.
I think we're
Okay,
doing
you
the
think you're
titles.
too focused on that. The point is, one dies, one leaves this room intact.
Okay,
There
fine.
can only be one.
Ooh, I
Like
gotta fight.
Highlander.
I gotta fight hard. Ooh, okay.
All right.
All right, so opening
Ooh.
statements. You already talked about Luigi's Mansion 3, kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay.
He's going to give his opening statement. Are you ready?
That's
I,
fair.
I,
Or-
I believe so. I believe I am.
Tell me the story.
All
tell
right.
Me, tell me the legendary status.
I'm gonna
of
give you a little bit. I'm gonna try my best to only talk about development things right now, purely because I want to save the real good stuff for the actual part
Do
of the
it.
dogfight.
Do
I'd
it
like
then.
to
Don't
say.
tell me about
All
it.
right. Well, shut up,
your
woman.
opening
I'm trying to
statement.
talk. Okay, so developed by Intelligent Systems, this is one of the best, excuse me, the best RPG Nintendo's ever made. And I'm gonna go ahead and let that sink in. I'm gonna let that sink. Okay, so here's the thing. This game was released in 2004 for the Nintendo GameCube.
All right.
And Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door is a role-playing game that is the second game in a series. Okay. So
Okay.
what? Why are you looking up Nintendo RPG? Okay. Anyway, so this
Second
game has a
game.
lot of really good. Yeah, it's second game. The original one came out for this Nintendo 64, but this
it.
game, I'll give you kind of a base plot. At first, it seems like, oh no, someone's taken Peach. I wonder who that could be. I guess we have to go save her. And it ends up being a lot bigger than that in terms of there's a base on the moon that you have to go to at some point. There's a 1,000-Year Door, as the title speaks of, that you eventually go through. There's a lot of lore in this game, but there's also a lot of really amazing gameplay and a lot of amazing dialogue to go along with it. It makes the entire journey worth it in that way. So, like, I played through it just the other day again because we talked about this a while ago about how we were doing
So
this.
it's fresh in your memory.
A little bit, yeah. And so I forget how great the dialogue is in that game all the time. And so and also just how interesting the characters are because they don't just have generic Toad 1 and 2. They have
Give
a
me an
lot of
example.
interesting examples. Okay. So a great example is they actually have like 2 versions of a Sailor Toad, and I'll pull them up right here.
I
Oh,
think
you can just tell me what he says.
But basically, you're wanting dialogue example. I thought you were wanting character
Character-
art example.
Character art. Oh, we can go over
Yeah, I was
character-
talking about design.
We'll go over that a little bit because I have questions specifically for the art direction.
Oh, okay.
But
cool.
okay, never mind. You can go over that stuff later.
But I mean-
keep going with your
Can
opening
I-
statement.
Well,
So-
I think overall that this is just a really solid game. I'm going to say this too because I respect this other game a lot because I did play this game as a kid as well. I'm gonna be honest.
Your
I
game's
do.
trash.
I respect this game, but I do believe this is the more superior game. And again, I don't think there's an actual loser. This is just the clear winner. So that's all I'm gonna say for my opening.
I think something this game
Okay.
does that I think is pretty cool is they sit down to like make a Mario like RPG. I don't even know how I would begin to do that, but they treated all the enemy races from like the platforming games as like RPG races.
Mhm.
So like you'll just see Goombas and like Koopa Troopa walking around towns and stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Makes no sense at all, but it's pretty cool.
So is that what you got for your opening
Yeah, I'm
statement?
just gonna let that be because I don't want to spend too much time.
Okay. Your opening statement.
Okay. So in the late '90s, they were getting ready to design the GameCube, and they were already thinking about like what they wanted their launch title to be. They really wanted the GameCube was like the most graphically impressive game like console up to that point, and they really wanted like to have a launch title that separated it from their competitors and from other Nintendo consoles. So instead of like a big platformer like Mario 64 was, they almost did like the game philosophy, like the design philosophy of this game is almost inverse to Mario 64, where instead of like big, colorful, open areas, they have very tight, like super detailed, like dark and shady environments throughout this mansion. And that's because they wanted to really show off like the light and shadow effects
Right.
that the GameCube was capable of. I think this game is about like careful observation, like complicated, not necessarily complicated, but like thoughtful combat and existential crisis. I think like the main charm of this game is definitely like the mansion and the environments that you go through. That's the star of the show. It's a relatively short game. Like you could probably, if you knew what you're doing, you could probably beat it in about 6 hours. But there's like a money system that makes it really replayable to get like the top score
Okay.
by the end of the game. There's a lot of really cool boss fights that I want to go into throughout the mansion. And yeah, that's my opening statement.
All right. And you mentioned a money system. So there's high scores in this game. So and that's interesting. Is it like based on how quick you go through it, or?
Throughout the mansion, there's money like hidden in all of the furniture and inside of enemies and all kinds of like secret little nooks and crannies.
Okay.
There's like a value of like coins to like physical like paper dollars, which I've never seen in a Mario game before or since. And then like it goes up to like gold bars and gems. And at the end of the game, it counts how much money you saved up, and then it tells you what kind of house Luigi bought after he cleared the mansion. Like I think the lowest score you can get is like a birdhouse, and the top score is like a real mansion that isn't full of ghosts. It's pretty fun. I played it several times to get all the different endings.
Cool. So it has multiple endings too.
Yep.
Interesting. We'll ask more about that. And so that has a lot of depth to it. A lot of things that you can do with it that make you want to come back to that game. RPGs are notorious for that kind of thing. So does Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, what does it offer in the way of replayability?
There's quite a few things. Some of them are kind of smaller details, but you've also got some of the bigger things that it's just fun to replay.
Right.
First off, you've got a lot of different side quests through the help center in town. You can go over there and pick a side quest and do it. It's actually pretty simple. And then also you have...
Can I get an example of like a side quest or something?
Sure. I actually do need to pull these up because this is the one thing I always forget because there's actually quite a few of them.
All right.
And there's more than you would expect from a Mario RPG because something that was lacking a lot in the original Paper Mario game was side quests. There really weren't a lot. And so this was actually a huge improvement for the series.
Jumping from that one, there was a lot more depth and things to do in this paper world.
Yeah, there's a lot more to do, which is one of the nice things about it. So,
why don't you do you have like an example of your favorite side quest, maybe?
Yeah, I actually do. So there's this mouse that you see throughout the game. Her name's Miss Mouse, and she has an important side quest to do. And basically, You go through this side quest. She first asks you to revisit one of the first places you went to, which is Hooktail's castle, to find this secret badge. So you find this badge, you bring it back to her, and then she joins your party.
Excellent.
So she's actually one of the most interesting fighters in the game because she's one of the only ones that can. She is the only one that can actually heal Mario by using flower points, which is the game's system for using abilities.
Right.
So she has a lot of unique and interesting combat potential, and so that's just like the one that sticks out to me purely because it gave me a party member, and so it was really cool.
Awesome.
She can also
So that was it's sort of like a fetch quest a little bit.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
There's a few of those. There's a few fighting ones. There's a few where you buy something and bring it to someone, and they give you something that's of equal or better value.
So it's kind of like
Some different things like that.
back in that day they weren't they were kind of just getting into the
Side quests.
into the RPG kind of formula.
Yeah.
So I won't
Exactly.
blame it for not being super variant. But the one thing I do want to ask is that a lot of games a lot of RPGs they kind of fall flat in the water because it's the same kind of turn-based system.
Okay.
They have it from one. So how is this one different from other RPGs in terms of combat?
Let me introduce the badge system. So the badge system is basically, as you play this game, you get a huge number of badges. And these badges can change things in the overworld in terms of you get a lot more money. You can up your stats with it, so you can have more HP or more FP, which, as I said earlier, is how you use abilities. You can also use that to have more combat arts. So as you go through the game, you do get upgrades to your basic attacks as Mario, and you can upgrade your partners with this little system with Merlin. But in order to do a lot of the really cool damage, you need to have badges. So a great example is the Power Bounce badge. And that badge allows you to constantly bounce on an opponent until you miss the action command.
So,
But
there's
it's
like
really
actual,
hard.
There's actual commands.
Oh,
Also
yes.
While you're doing it, so
Yeah.
it's not just like you pick a move and they go and do it.
You have to. There are action commands in this game for every character and every move you do that make it to where you have to perform that action before you can actually attack.
Yeah.
And also
Actually
that.
sounds really fun.
Like even like the big super like special attacks that you can do are like little mini games unto themselves. So it's pretty
That
interesting.
actually,
And one of the cool things is the enemies, whenever they attack you, you can do one of two different action commands. You can either guard, and you take one less hit point because in this game HP is not like huge. I think the most you get is 50 if you just focus on that. But
I think we might go a little bit over, by the way.
oh, that's
Yeah, that's
fine.
yeah. I
yeah.
think that'll be okay.
We'll just
So watch on YouTube if you really want to finish this dog fight.
We'll do the we'll give a sign off in a little bit, but continue. I don't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
you're absolutely fine. So you can do that, and that's just called a guard, or you can do something called a super guard. And depending on the attack, you can either completely negate the damage entirely, or if it's a physical move, you actually deal 1 point of damage to the opponent,
Okay.
which is huge. So it's
Yeah.
actually really good.
So there's a whole bunch of badges that kind of affect the combat in different ways and make you. They open up possibilities. So you don't have to have like one specific build to get through the game. You can go through it with. Can you go through it with
Multiple different
builds?
builds. Yeah. So
And those
like.
you can take those to in game. You
Yeah.
don't have to switch off at some point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think like a great example is I focused mainly this last run since I've played so many times on FP. So that way I could just do as many high damaging moves as possible.
Right.
And I did so much damage, but also I had to be really good at timing my super guards so I didn't take much. So it kind of affects how you play. And also it affects really just affects how you play.
I remember I didn't beat this game because I rented it like at a movie place. I thought it was pretty good, but like the something that really bothered me was like a lot of the badges you get in shops.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember the ones in the shops being really expensive, and I would save up all my gold to go and get them. But like every time you leave and come back to the shop, like every time you like at a certain, I don't know what the activator is. It might be like going to that area of the world or coming back, but like the shops restock really often, and you have to like try over and over again to get the right badge you want.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably a misstep. They probably could have found a better way to like have you buy badges, but. You know.
So sometimes it's kind of hard.
Some of them, yeah, some of them are like hard to get, and it's a little inconsistent. I know another way to get badges is like you got to find all these little shine pieces all around the world, and some of them are just hidden.
You can trade them.
Some of them are hidden in asinine places. I'm not gonna lie.
They're
There's
not
some
that hard to
dumb
find
places that these things
because
are hidden.
Well, here's the cool thing. Like I was explaining earlier, you remember Ms. Mouse, the character
Sure.
you get from a side quest? She actually helps you find these. So
Well, thank goodness.
How far
Yeah.
do you find her in the game?
it's maybe chapter 3 or 4.
I don't know how long the chapter.
Okay,
no,
so the
no,
chapters
no, no,
are about.
no. She's near the end game.
Mm-mm. She's pretty early if you know that her side quest is up.
So wait, you might not actually unlock her if you don't know how to get her, or
Well, if you're doing side quests, then you will. But if you aren't, then no, you won't. But
what if I want to get
That's
all the
just
shine
something-
pieces and I'm not interested in side quests?
well, that's just something that you do as you play the game again. This is replayability. Because the first time, I'll admit this, the first time I played through the game, I didn't get Ms. Mouse. I didn't get every badge. I didn't get every star piece. But that's what replayability is about, is going back in the game and figuring things out and saying, hey, maybe I should do this side quest. Oh, I got a new party member? Cool.
I'm going to
Things
go
like
ahead and do
that.
the sign off. You guys have been listening to the Doghouse, part of Tower Radio. We're just about to go off air on the radio, but we'll be back on. We'll still be live on YouTube, so tune in on the CBC Tower Radio channel. We're going to finish up this dogfight. It's Luigi's Mansion versus
Paper Mario 1000
Paper
Year Door.
Mario 1000 Year Door. So you guys have been listening to Husky, Dingo, and Updog. Be sure to tune in. We are signing out.
I'm going to let, at this point, I'm going to show one thing real quick
Okay.
because I feel like I've talked a lot.
Okay.
And I want him to be able to do some things too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Uh,
But I wanted to show that Yoshi's are a playable character or a party member,
Oh,
and
that's all,
depending on the time you get him to hatch, he actually has different colors.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's like
Yeah.
a really, like I was saying earlier,
that
one of the
looks
coolest
like Shadow
things.
the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I know. He's the one I get the most, which is funny.
That one has a
But-
gun and curses.
But anyway, so that's one of the cool things about this game is unlike every other Mario game, the character designs are fantastic. So here's a great picture kind of showing a few of them.
Okay.
So here are like all the different characters. There are some that aren't even races in most Mario places.
We'll go over those in more
but-
detail in a second.
Oh, of course. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm
Um,
excited to talk.
That's interesting. I like the idea of the badge system and how you can make utilize builds in certain ways. I'm going to ask you maybe a little bit more about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Second of all, I know you said Updog. I know you said that Luigi's Mansion was kind of a departure from the norm of what they had done, and I know we've talked about how the GameCube kind of revolutionized how they use lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe talk about how. Can you tell me how Luigi's Mansion kind of? We know it's different from any Mario game that we're going, but maybe go more in depth about maybe the combat or how different it is. Just what makes it
From-
so unique?
What makes
makes-
it unique?
Because
Okay.
they wouldn't have made 2 sequels if it wasn't.
That's
good.
true.
So
Typically Mario is all about like just enjoying, the background of the game, and then completing like platforming challenges. That's been the Mario formula for a long time. This game, getting from point A to point B isn't as easy as jumping. You have to like actually, the environment becomes like your obstacle. You have to pay attention to everything around you and complete puzzles that have effects in other parts of the houses, other parts of the house. I think like as far as like like you said, like the graphics of the GameCube, they kind of affected the development of this game. Like the GameCube like had a new like ice, fire, and water effect that they could do on that system, so they made that into like an extra weapon Luigi can get in the game. So like the two are kind of like intertwined as far as that's concerned. I don't know. It's just such a weird Mario game. It's not even like a real Mario game if you think about it. Like there's optional bosses. There's like really complicated combat near the end of the game.
it's almost like Dark Souls.
It's almost like the Dark Souls of Mario games. But yeah, I guess the main thing that separates it from other Mario games is like it's more focused on puzzles and combat.
Mm.
And as far as the combat goes, like the catching ghosts feels really good in this game.
It's almost like more close to a Zelda game.
Yeah, a little bit. There
than
is
a
kind of
Mario game.
it does feel kind of like a really, really big Zelda dungeon.
So-
Also, something else I like about this game is like the sense of visual storytelling. Like there's not a whole lot of dialogue in this game, but like when you come across different ghosts, like the portrait ghosts, it's like this big family that lives in this mansion, and they're all dead now, and you can find their ghosts. Like each of them kind of tells a story by like what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to like interact with the environment to make them vulnerable so you can attack them. But yeah, like as far as the combat goes in this game,
Right.
it's
That's what I was going to
yeah,
ask you about
yeah.
next.
It's relatively like simple. You startle a ghost with your flashlight, and then you vacuum them up until their points are gone, and they'll drag you around the room, knocking over furniture and trying to dislodge Luigi. And that's another thing this game does really well. Like it starts with a simple formula, and then it builds on it. Like at first, the ghosts are relatively easy to catch, because they're just little mobs. But then you start meeting ghosts that'll like eat a lot of food and throw banana peels on the ground. So as you're trying to catch them, you have to like look out and like maneuver around the banana peels. So that adds a little bit to the difficulty. And then you start meeting those ghosts, while you're fighting other ghosts that do like big area of effect attacks and slamming into the ground. So you've got to sidestep their attacks while avoiding the banana peels. So it just keeps building on the difficulty through like little design tweaks.
So it's almost like a bullet hell at some point.
At some points, yeah, a little bit, especially when traps are going off in the room and you're just like.
That's interesting. So it's all about like kind of a little bit of positioning of like where you get the ghost and like being aware of your surroundings.
It really feels like you're hunting and catching these things, if that makes sense. Like you chase the ghost around to a certain corner of the room, like now I've got you because you're cornered or you're gonna run into this or that. You gotta think carefully about the environment when you're in combat.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about, like, I remember one of the optional bosses you can fight is this really big, fat ghost who sits in the dining room, and he just keeps eating his food. No matter what you do to him, this guy will not stop eating his food. So I went and I got the fire enhancement, and I set this guy's food on fire. He just stopped eating. He looked down at his food, and then he looked up at me and just kind of stared at me, and I was staring at him. And then I just set him on fire. So this huge ghost is like running around this room, and Luigi is chasing him, trying to set him on fire. All these, like, the table's on fire, the curtains are on fire, everything's on fire. And then at the end, he catches the ghost, like, yay! And the room is still burning behind him. It's a great game. Yeah.
That's pretty fun. That sounds pretty fun.
Question real quick.
Sure.
So besides catching ghosts and getting money, what else
rich.
do you do in the game?
You have to solve a lot of puzzles, and like I guess kind of like you meant, kind of with the Zelda room comparison, like solving a puzzle in one part of the room, like in one part of the mansion, affects other parts because they're all interconnected really tightly. Also, like there'll be at certain beats in the story, there'll be like really big mansion-wide things that happen. Like at one point, you release a bunch of smaller ghosts into the mansion. You have to hunt each one down. At another point, you make it to the topmost room of the mansion, and then lightning strikes the house, so all the power goes out. All the rooms that you lit up and turned into safe rooms are now dark again. So you've got to fight your way down to the breaker box in the basement. And this is the only point in the game where the game clearly gives you too many ghosts to fight, so it becomes like a run. You're just running through the mansion trying to get down to the basement. It's excellent.
Interesting.
I would go far, though. I'll say this real quick. I think one of the things that I think makes me feel like this is a more superior game is I get very repetitive vibes from Luigi's Mansion, because the thing about it is he's right. There are those like few moments where it does kind of change it up a little bit, but mainly even with that, you're catching ghosts, you're getting money, you're moving on to the next section of the house. And you just do that kind of over and over until you're at the final boss, and then you get your house, and then if you want to, you can play it again and get another house.
I think that's an interesting. I think what this, like, kind of what I said, like this game kind of changes that up a little bit. Like, yeah, you're fighting ghosts the whole time, just like in Paper Mario, you're fighting bad guys the whole time. That's just that's the combat.
That's like not the same.
As you go further in the game, it starts building on the difficulty though, and it gets more complex. So what started as like simple, like. Yeah, kind of like you said, just fighting ghosts becomes like a complicated bullet hell of dodging around the room and making sure that you use all the skills that you learn. And all the backtracking that you do, like if I start in one part of the mansion and I do something and I go away, if I ever have to come back, that area has changed in some way because of something I've done or of new ghosts that have moved into that area.
Right. Okay.
But I think there's a lot of backtracking in Paper Mario.
There's
Especially
really not that
in the second chapter, you're going back and forth across some of these areas over and over again. And there's nothing to do except for fighting the mobs that are just wandering around.
Second chapter. Are you talking about the one in Bogley Woods?
No.
With the great tree?
I'm talking about the Coops. That might be the first. Well,
That's technically chapter 1, if we're talking about Coops and his thing.
but there's the one in Roguesport first.
You're talking about the prologue?
I'm not counting them by
the
whatever
very
they
beginning
call.
of the game?
When you start the game and you do like a first. I don't care. This is technicality. I'm saying like there's a good bit of the game where you're just going back and forth through different areas. You spend a lot of time going from point A to point B in an RPG. That's just part of the genre.
that's an RPG.
Yeah, I'm saying
But
Mario.
there's
this,
really not backtracking in it.
Yeah, this you
but
have to go back to Roguesport several times.
The only time, well, Roguesport's the main hub. That's how you get to other places.
Sure.
Now, I will give you this. In Chapter 7, you do backtrack a lot because you're trying to find the White Bomb, General White. But besides that, you really don't backtrack all that much.
I disagree. I think there's a lot of backtracking, and I don't think it does anything to really make it more interesting.
I think the argument he was trying to make initially was that because of that, there is some variance in what you can do with Paper Mario, and that you can run a different build. That's the strength of RPGs.
Okay.
And that you can do that, but I think what his initial statement was, and I'm not saying the things you said. I'm not discounting the other things you said, but I think the things that he was saying is mostly that like you play through the game and it's a great game, but like I think he's disputing the replayability.
Okay.
Of the game.
Yes.
I think you do this. You unlock each room of the mansion the same way every single time, but I think the difference here comes with the portrait ghosts. Which are like mini bosses that are optional in a lot of cases. You get a lot more money from fighting them, but if you get hurt by them, you lose a lot of money. So instead of like thinking of different, it becomes like instead of thinking of different ways I can change myself to beat the game, like different risk and reward.
It becomes
kind of
trying to
factors
get
you're
a
willing
better
to take.
and better run each
Yeah,
time.
each
Okay.
time.
Interesting. Interesting. How long roughly do you think the game is? Of Luigi's Mansion?
How long is it?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. It's not a super long game if you know what you're doing and you just run through it.
Yeah.
You
but
could
like
theoretically a person could like speed run it in 6 hours, but I think if you're just playing it,
I
you
think
could.
what was the amount of hours that they said that like this is like the reviewers said it's around this many hours of play for the average person?
I think it's like 13 hours.
Okay.
It's not super long,
Right.
but like I think
It was their first
yeah,
stab into the
I played it
genre.
over the
Heck,
course
I'm-
of like a couple of weeks just because I didn't have as much time to sit down and do the whole thing.
Right.
But also I had to think about, searching for like every nook and cranny. I actually don't know how long it would take if you tried to do everything in the mansion.
Right.
That would probably be closer to like 24 hours. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll say this real quick because you made me interested in the speedrun thing. Apparently, the fastest speedrun recorded for Luigi's Mansion was 1 hour and 8 minutes
That's incredible.
for 100%.
You would probably have to like glitch through some of the walls to do that.
Well, it's
But it's-
100%.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, 100%?
yeah, 100%.
Goodness gracious.
And then the other ones aren't too far behind.
Yeah. Those old GameCube games, there's a lot of wacky stuff you can do.
Yeah.
He can probably like suck his way through walls.
If it's any percent, it is 8 minutes and 26 seconds.
That's incredible.
That's
I could
actually
not-
insane.
I love this game and I would never do that.
I wouldn't do that to any
That's
game.
interesting. Ooh.
Yeah, let's see here. 100% for Paper Mario. The 1,000-year door speedrun is 8 hours and 15.
Something else
That's kind of cool.
as far as replayability goes, like the first time I beat this game, I
That's
didn't
a speed run?
Yeah, it's 8 hours and something minutes for 100. But that's 100%.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's, you're doing everything. So at that point, it kind of makes
Yeah.
sense.
as
How-
far as replayability goes, again, this is just a quick thing I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
As far as like the first time I beat this game, I didn't really read any of the books or go into the gallery where you can like examine the paintings of the ghosts you've caught. Well, like after these ghosts are all part of like a big family. And like as you kind of learn the lore behind each ghost, you'll sometimes learn secrets about how to catch other ones. Like the dad ghost knows that the mom hates the cold, which I didn't know. Like I had to try a bunch of different things to get her to like weaken her before I could catch her. But if I had just read about her a little bit, I would have known.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's got like a built-in like almost rogues gallery.
Yeah,
I guess.
hey, that's basically
Actually-
how it is.
I'll give you this point too because I like this about your game. You can actually, the Game Boy Horror is something in this game that is the
Oh my
map.
God, yeah.
That's how EGAD calls you and some other things. But if you use the camera and you zoom in on one of the portrait ghosts, you'll actually read their thoughts, and that will tell you a strategy on
Oh,
how
yeah.
to beat them.
there's like a little. He's got like this little Game Boy horror is what it's called. It's a little like gadget.
like
that
a
he's
cell
got.
phone,
yeah,
really.
The game switches into like first person, and you can examine things around the room. And Luigi always has dumb things to say.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's some weird interactions you can get out of it. Like I was in a bathroom once, and I scanned a mirror, and then the mirror, like the reflection started spinning, and then Luigi started spinning, and I was back in like the lobby of the mansion. And like any reflection, any reflective surface in the mansion that you scan will just send you back to the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't tell you that, but it's a great way to get around.
It's just a random thing you have to find.
It's
Can you do
weird.
that when the lights turn off?
I think so, yeah.
Mhm. That's how most speedrunners get back to the basement. Is they just go to the lobby and then they
Interesting.
run back.
Mm. But the lobbies,
Interesting.
that's not the fastest way to get to the basement, though. You can go. There's
other
there's
paths.
faster
There's
there's
other
faster
places.
ways.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to ask you about party members. You mentioned that
Awesome.
you get the mouse lady, Miss Mouse.
Mm-hmm. Everyone else comes through party.
Are they? Do you end up with everybody as a required thing? Like what? You can switch out your party members and everything
Mhm.
by the end of it.
Oh, you can swap out party members at any time. The only one that is optional is Miss Mouse. Everyone else you actually get through story. But as far as upgrading them goes, you can't just upgrade them willy-nilly. You have to find shine sprites. I think you have to have 3 of them for each upgrade. And then eventually, later on in the game, you can upgrade them a second time, which gives them an ultimate ability. But every time you upgrade them, you also boost the damage they do.
All right.
So there's actually a lot of really cool and unique party members.
Can I ask you a
'cause-
question?
Sure.
Real quick? Do you have like I know like all the party. Something I liked about this game was like all the party members have their own little chapters and stories and stuff.
Mhm.
Right.
Which one was like your favorite one? What's like a good example of that?
Admiral Bobbery.
I knew it was gonna be
Absolutely-
Bobbery.
It has to be
Bobbery!
Oh, he's the best one. Okay,
You
so
salty sea dog.
there's actually a lot on this one, so I'm gonna kind of condense it for you.
I was about to ask what your favorite character moment it was. Anyway.
Oh, so this is it. So Admiral Bobbery is this little. I'll go ahead and point him out. This little bomb right here. He's a little
he's
sailor boy.
Oh,
He's a
that's
bomb.
cool
He's
character.
adorable, dude. He's
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's such a
And
cool
as he's
character
walking
design.
around, his wheel right there actually spins. So it's actually a really neat design too.
He's
And
missing
I'll keep letting you look at all these designs. But anyway, so Admiral Bobbery's
Is that
wife
Chef
died.
Kawasaki?
Where?
With a mustache?
No, that's actually a salesman.
Oh.
Anyway, so Admiral Bobbery's wife died while he was out at sea. He loved the sea, but he loved his wife Charlotte a lot more. But she always told him, "Hey, you need to go to sea. That's what you love to do." And so she dies while he's out at sea, and because of that, he's like, "I'm never going to sail again." And so Mario really needs him to be a part of their ship journey on the way to Key Island. Mess. I can't remember the exact name of the island. But anyways, there's this island that you go to, and you need him in order to get there. And so you're trying a lot of ways to get there. And then I'm trying to see if the bartender is on this frame. He's not. Okay, but there's a bartender at Rogueport
Oh, so
who
this isn't
has.
even all the characters.
Oh no, this isn't even all of the designs. This is maybe a fourth of
Are
them.
these all characters that you can get in your party?
No, these are all unique
Oh.
character designs that you see throughout the world.
Can you get the booze in your party though?
One of them, the original game, that one right there with the bow. Her name's Belle.
That's irrelevant. We're talking about the
In this game,
$1,000
no.
door.
But anyways, but you do get Vivian, and she's like a cooler version of the booze. Anyway, so I'm just saying, you got to play the game, and you'll know what I mean.
My
She can
game's got
set things on
booze.
fire. But
My-
anyway,
my game's got booze.
so you go to this bartender, and it ends up he actually has a letter from his wife before she passed. And he reads it, and it's basically her saying, "Hey, I'm gonna die, but I want you to know that I love you, and I know you love the sea, and so you need to go back to it. Don't make me the reason you can't go back to your other love."
Go
And
back
so,
to the sea,
Basically,
Bombay.
and so he
Go
jumps
back
on
to
the ship.
sea, Mr. Frodo.
He jumps on the ship. Some other things happen that basically make you crash on Keyhole Key. That's what it is. And you find Bobbery later, who's gotten kind of beat up from some of the island inhabitants, which are these big flame ghost things. And he asks for one final request, which is for Caro Coca-Cola. And so you have to find some Coke to bring back to him so he can drink it. And he supposedly dies, but then you hit him with your hammer and he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll join." And he just joins your party. He's there. It's funny.
That's pretty cool.
And so-
I like Bob Berry's design.
Yeah. And the
so-
cool thing is each character that's in your party, they all have unique things about them that make them good and viable in combat. So a great example for Bobbery is he actually has these little timed grenades that he can throw onto the field, and then after a certain amount of turns have passed, they blow up and they hurt whoever you threw them at. But you can even throw them at yourself, because the cool thing is, a lot of people do what's called Peril Mario runs, and they equip badges that make him, whenever he's at like 1% or like really, not 1%, 1 HP, or like really low HP for like below 5, he can dodge a lot of attacks, or he does like 5 times more damage because of the amount of badges they up his attack. So you can use that with that strategy, but you can also just throw the bombs at the bad people.
Interesting.
So
Alright.
that's just an example of the really cool party mechanics. If you wanted another one, I can give you one. But
No,
I don't know
think
exactly
that's-
what all you're wanting
that's pretty
for
cool.
what
so
else
they
you
all
want me to
have
say.
different effects. He has bombs. I'm sure they all have different stuff that you can do. So you can
Mhm.
once again, that's kind of emphasizing all the different kind of builds you can do if you want to.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
have to use them all. They don't make you use party members at any point.
The
do they?
only time they make you use a party member is
Might be
she's a
during the
brand new
story.
one. It's a story thing, yes.
Okay.
Basically, there's a guy who steals your identity. His name's Dupless, and he takes over Mario's body. And so your party members follow him, and Vivian actually helps you regain your body back and the Crystal Star, which is a plot important item.
Do you ever
Yeah.
have to? Do you always have to have like Mario in your party?
Mario is always in the party, yes.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing about him. He's the only one, well, I say only one. He's one of the only ones that really has a lot to do with badges. Your other party members, you can equip party badges, which affects all of them. But Mario has the ones for his jump and the different things you can do with it. The ones for his hammer and he can do with it. The ones that make his appeal do more appeal, which gives him more star power.
Yeah.
Things like that.
It never it like in the overworld, some of the like you can switch out your follower and they can help you do like some platforming things or help you like interact with the world, but it doesn't make you choose one, which is pretty good because some of them are garbage. They are not all equal. Like this is something I didn't like. The first follower you get, she's almost completely useless in combat, and like by the end of it, I was just using Bobbery and Koops a little bit. Like there's
Really?
yeah, some of them are just
Those are the only ones you used?
pretty much. I didn't beat the game, but like, I could definitely tell like some of them were just falling by the wayside because they weren't as viable as others.
I completely disagree.
I think they should have like maybe worked more on making each one like individually useful in combat.
But they did. The Goomba girl you're talking about, Goombella,
Yeah.
she has a tattle ability that allows you, whenever you scan an enemy, you can tell their HP, and also it gives you a weakness. So that's one thing for her. I can't believe you didn't use Yosh.
But like, why?
How'd you not use Yosh?
I didn't get that far. But like, well, actually,
But if you
yeah,
had
yeah,
to
I
have,
did.
yeah.
I did.
Yosh was good.
I don't know. It was
And
a long time
Vivian,
ago.
she set things on
But-
fire.
Yeah, the scan ability is nice, but at the same time, most of the enemies have like visual cues that tell me what their weaknesses are. Like, hey, you can't jump on the spiky-headed mushroom guy.
But there's some of them you don't know what their defense is.
That's interesting.
And so it gives you stats. It tells you how much HP, how much defense, and then it tells you the things it does.
I guess
I
it's
can
useful.
see the perspective of
From
what you
both.
are, but that's interesting. They have visual cues that tell you
Yeah.
when they're weak.
Mm-hmm.
They do that in Monster
There are
Hunter,
some
too.
things like the Koopas.
Bum,
The
ba, dum,
Koopas,
bum.
whenever you jump on them, they kind of just sit there and they kind of like whine while their belly's exposed.
Mm.
And so that tells you, oh, I should hit them now. That kind of thing.
Mm.
Interesting. So I didn't know that they would have like actual visual cues that you could take advantage of. So that's
There are some of them,
that's
yeah.
that's better than a lot of RPGs already, that they kind of take the extra thing with like character
Yeah.
design. You
Mhm.
incidentally made a good point.
Yeah, that
There's
that
actually a lot of
ties-
good character design.
That ties into like the whole action input RPG fighting style really well because
Mm.
like you have to decide to like control Mario to jump on a lot of enemies or like to hit him with a hammer. So you got to kind of think about
Mhm.
what
Oh my
repercussions
goodness.
that has.
I almost forgot like two big things. Items, which I'm not going to talk about because it's an RPG. You know how items work.
Right.
But then also star power. So as you go through the game and get those crystal stars, you get a lot of different special attacks that can either boost you or they just attack the enemy. So those are really cool. You want me to kind of go into them or?
no.
Okay.
They
I'm
give you
just,
special abilities, right?
they're basically, yeah, they're special
Give me
abilities.
one good special ability that's your favorite as an example.
Earth Trimmer. It's the first crystal star you get. And basically, it's a timed button press as this little bar fills up. There's little circles, and you have to press A when it's in the circle. And as you do that, you make the star get bigger, and you make an earthquake on the stage, and the enemies die.
Wait, are these just QTEs?
Well, some of them. Some of them are different.
They're all QTEs, I'm pretty sure.
You didn't beat the game.
I didn't beat the
I was
game.
about to say,
I watched a couple of videos about it though.
Well, that's interesting, though. That's at least better than most RPGs.
That's true.
I feel like he's got a lot of bad RPGs on his belt or something. He's just like, it's better than most RPGs. And then just like gets quiet. And
I'm really excited
Scary.
for Final Fantasy VII, not because I like Final Fantasy VII, but because
they changed Final Fantasy
I
VII.
want it to be turn-based.
Hey, I'm gonna say right now, I'm on the same boat.
I feel
A refined fighting system. If it's this refining the fighting system from Final Fantasy 15, I'm down.
15 had a good fighting.
That's why I'm a little bit more
Yeah.
excited for Persona Scrambled a little bit, because like,
yeah, it looks cool.
I don't want to do turn-based combat anymore. Please don't make me.
I think if you do turn-based right, it's good. But 7 had too much
This is what I'm-
turn-based
okay,
information.
We're talking about other things.
Cool. Okay.
Sorry. One last question I want to ask for you. Are there random encounters?
No. They are all on the screen, and you see them and interact with them. You can actually get first strikes.
Do they come towards you?
Yeah.
Some of them do. Some of them are just sitting there.
Are there? Is it like a slog going through them? Like
It is in some places. They're like narrow. The game will force you into like narrow corridors or little bits where you have to jump, and it's kind of you kind of have to fight some enemies to get past at certain points.
Well, yeah. There are like a few of those, but it's an RPG. They all kind of have that thing.
how big
but-
is this world?
Oh my god! Oh, do you want me to go there? I'll go there.
Okay, but
It's-
There's a lot. Okay,
You're
so
saying that, but I'm thinking like you said at one point you have to go all the way back.
you don't. Okay, it's actually super simple because, like I said earlier, Rogueport is a central hub. So you go back to Rogueport, you can go back everywhere else.
You don't have to travel through an overworld then.
Oh no, you can go back to Rogueport and then just go to that place you were needing to go.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
So it's a lot easier than
I'm
what
pretty
you're thinking.
sure. I'm pretty sure you like. At the end of a chapter, you do go back to Rogueport like automatically. But for a
Mhm.
lot of it, if you just want to get back to Rogueport, don't you have to like walk across the area you're exploring to get back?
There are certain cases, but there's also whenever. Let me say this really quick. Whenever you backtrack, whenever you usually like in story, it says you have to backtrack. There are these blue pipes underground that are super easy to find because the game literally shows you where they are. And you use those to go back to those previous areas. And that way you make the backtracking super quick. So that General White quest I talked about, how you have to go back to these other areas and say, oh, he's not here. I have to go to the next one. And they tell you where he is next. It's super fast. I complete that quest
What
in
is-
5 minutes.
What is that again that you use to go back?
These little blue pipes, they're underground,
There are
which is
pipes
the
everywhere. Okay.
yeah, pipes that bring you places because
Oh,
it's Mario.
That's interesting.
So
And I'm giving this game and both this game and Luigi's Mansion a little leeway because they were both years were still like coming out in the height of the whole RPG syndrome where like they have all these stuff that like you have to have it in an RPG.
Right.
And
Mhm.
yours was the first Luigi's Mansion.
Mm.
I don't know if there's any other game that's like Luigi's Mansion. So
Probably
I'm
not.
trying to compare.
there's
it to
ever a
something.
Ghostbusters game before that, maybe?
There are, but they're different. They're like usually first
They
person,
probably sucked.
Mm.
and they were bad.
Oh,
whoa, 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 whoa,
I
whoa.
like that. That was good.
But oh, I got it. Actually, it's a laser in Ghostbusters, so there's no suction involved.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually mean to make a
I know.
pun.
Well, I know, but I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
That was my bad.
Yeah.
Are we gonna?
So
Are
I
we
think-
talking about
I think-
design at
I
any
think the
point?
weird thing, I think you kind of showed me the character designs.
Okay.
But I know a little bit about. If you want, you can like pull up an area and show me in a little bit.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'll look at it during the song. But
Yeah, you're good.
I think that the opposite. Two of these games have kind of almost opposite problems. It's like I'm thinking about playing Luigi's Mansion, but I'm like hearing about like obviously I'm not going to be anywhere near the speed runs, but like
Yeah.
sounds like a game that I could run. If I just sat down and just dedicated a night to play it, I might be able to run through it pretty quickly.
It's possible, yeah. I
And
think
then
yeah.
this game,
It's a time commitment.
it's a time commitment. I'm glad that there's not one giant overworld that I have to track. That's what I hated about Octopath Traveler. Because like at
Mhm.
one point they're like, you need to go back to this area. There's random encounters, and it's a giant slog, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already better than Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's not that I'm saying that those two games are like bad because of it. It's just
Yeah.
like those are things that like I'm thinking about. If I had to play one of these two games, which one would I play? So I mean, what? I don't know. What? You said there's
I
a
think-
lot of interesting things in this game as far as side diversions and things.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned the mirror thing. Are there any more quirky, funny things like that in the game?
Funny things like that in the game. I think funny things like that. There's a lot. If you're talking about weird, quirky stuff, Luigi's Mansion's got it in spades. Like as far there's like a couple like there's oh my god, I can't believe I didn't bring this up earlier. There's this room called Planetarium. You step inside. There's some telescopes in the wall and stuff. It's pretty cool. You keep walking to the left. The room is a lot bigger than you previously thought. You look down at your map, it's only like a little tiny room. You keep walking. The walls and floor start to turn into space. You keep going, the floor is completely gone. Luigi is wandering through the cosmos. As he continues, he comes upon like a trail of like the Milky Way going up to the moon. Flying, like stars are flying back and forth across the path. You catch one in your vacuum and launch it at the moon. It explodes. You get one of the items you needed. You leave the room, everything's fine.
I feel like lots of games in like this era blew up the moon.
It's horrifying.
Well, because in Paper Mario, you also blow up the moon in this game.
Yeah.
Because you blow up a base that's on the moon.
Luigi's Mansion got that first.
Oh,
Okay, Sonic
Mario
Adventure 2
Brothers-
got that first.
Mario
Well,
Brothers
no,
are
Luigi's
menace.
Mansion came out first.
Sonic Adventure 2
Oh, no,
came
you're
out
right,
on
for the
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Why are you arguing for... Is that what you want to use this
The
to-
secret
You
game.
want Sonic Adventure 2
Sonic
Battle
Adventure 2
versus
Battle's gonna
Luigi's
win,
Mansion?
baby! I'm just kidding, not really.
boy.
But
Yeah, that's
Mario
one
Brothers
funny
are a
thing.
menace.
Yeah, that's one kind of...
everyone wants to blow up the moon,
There's
apparently.
really just like trippy stuff like that happens a lot in the game. There's this bit, you go into this room called the projector room. Nothing happens for like the longest time. It's just like a projector board and like a table in the back with a projector on it. You just wander around the room, you can't find anything. You can't leave either because the door's locked behind you. Like I bumped, I kind of hit the projector with my flashlight and it turned on. And it just started like shining the light on the board, it's, like a like a strobe light kind of. And I was just kind of wandering around. And then like for the next couple of minutes, these ghosts start attacking you. But you can't see them. You can only see their shadows cast by the projector. So like you're just kind of like, struggling around trying to judge where these things are as they're trying to get you. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's a couple rooms where you can only see ghost reflections and you can't see
So
them.
This game does a really good job of utilizing its space
Oh.
in the rooms. It's almost like each room is a different
Yeah.
boss.
It's almost like also like the design of the mansion changes as you get deeper down towards the final boss. Like the final corridor up to King Boo is like this weird, like long. It kind of becomes organic. And then when you get to the end, like I'm just gonna go into the final boss battle real quick because I think it's the best part of the game. King Boo sucks you into a painting, and like Luigi's like scratching at the floor trying to hold on. He gets sucked into the painting. He wakes up looking like on the roof of the mansion. There's fire everywhere all around him. All he can see is just fire rising up above the mansion. And then Bowser shows up. And you have to knock his head off and suck King Boo out of him. So basically the final boss battle of this game is you fight Bowser's corpse in hell. That's how I interpreted it.
Okay, the final boss in Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door. Peach gets possessed by a 1,000-year-old demon.
Did it happen in hell?
But it basically does. Have you seen the background for that? You go through the 1,000-Year Door.
I'm having trouble thinking of more specific weird things that happen because this game
No,
is
it's
just like a
fine.
constant
I
stream
wanted
of
you to
weird
tell me
stuff.
about the final boss.
Yeah.
Also, and you kind of did that. So you have to knock. How do you knock his head off?
They're like he throws these big spiky balls at you, and you got to dodge past them, which is really hard because sometimes they'll curve around, and you have to like kind of dodge past it and start sucking it with your vacuum and kind of drag it around as it's going and throw it back in his face, and that knocks his head off, and you got to chase King Boo around a bit.
Oh.
But
That's something that's really interesting. Both of our game's final bosses are really dark for
Yeah.
Mario.
Go
So-
into your final boss.
Okay, so like I said, Peach gets possessed by a 1,000-year-old demon.
That's
There's
one of-
actually the Shadow Queen. If you look her up,
And that
she has
comes-
a Peach design where she takes over Peach's body and gets a new dress.
And
It's
that
really
comes
cool.
out of the 1,000-Year Door. I
Yes.
believe. Okay.
The 1,000-Year Door's treasure is this ancient demon that the bad guys managed to wake up.
That's not a treasure. That's not a treasure at all.
It's not, but
There's nothing in here but demons.
the legend was it was a treasure. And so they open it up, and the bad guys are like, "Oh, we can control this demon," and she's like, "No," and kills him. And then you find out that Vivian is actually the sister of 2 other girls that look just like her, who are
Okay.
servants of the demon. So,
Why don't you just tell me about the boss fight, though?
sorry, thank you. So, at first, literally this thing's unbeatable because first off, it's Peach. Mario doesn't want to really hurt her, and then also it's a demon. It's kind of invincible. But then RPG trope, through the power of friendship, and by that I mean everybody around the worlds, the crystal stars go to them and like absorb the encouragement that they're sending to Mario, and then Peach gets a little bit of consciousness back and weakens the demon through her magic, because we've seen kind of in Smash she has like a little bit of magic power kind of thing going on. And so she weakens the demon a little bit, and that allows you to actually fight the demon. And she has like a few interesting forms. So at first she has like these 2 little hands that you can fight against, but they also do extra attacks besides just her core. But then she also at one point can summon like these like multiple arms that are like this pit almost, and they can go under your character and grab them down and just damage them for a little bit, unless you're blocking or doing super guards or whatever. But it's kind of terrifying at first. I remember as a kid, I got to that boss and was like, wait, what's this? And it was freaking me out for a second. So yeah, it's actually really challenging because the Demon Queen has a lot of different attacks that are just really hard. And one of the other things about her is she can charge up, which means her next attack will do like +6 more damage, which in this game is huge. I mean, if she does that in the Lightning Bolt attack, that's 12 HP. Which, if you're doing a max HP run, is still a 5th of your health. So, she's pretty strong. Pretty good. But it's also really good. Just a good fight. It's fun.
I'm kind of wondering, like, what? Like, yeah, that sounds really cool, but like, is there anything that separates it from other bosses in the game? Like, does she have any abilities, or does she change anything from like the? Like, what is there anything that makes her like more than just like another big bad
Boss.
RPG boss? I guess.
I really
That's what I'm
wanted you to
wondering.
finish it with boss. Okay. So, the things that make her a lot different is she's kind of got those multiple stage things. So, like I said, at first you really can't damage her, but then you are able to. She also is one of the few bosses in the game that can actually just straight up buff herself. Like I said with that one, that's a charge, which means it's only for that one move. But she can also just straight up buff herself for a few turns, like with extra defense and attack. She is one of the only bosses you technically have to beat twice, because you have to go through the cutscene fight at first where she's invincible and not die. And also you have to go through the fight the second time where you're actually able to damage her. She's a really difficult boss. Something else that kind of sets other bosses apart, just to bring another boss into this, is Cortex. Cortex is an ancient pirate spirit that you have to go and fight because you're trying to get the crystal star from his pirate ship. And you beat him a lot because he only has 20 HP. And at that time in the game, it's like, oh, 20 HP, that's nothing. But the thing is, every time you beat him, since he's a pirate spirit, he transforms into a different form. So one time he's just a floating head, and he's got like all these weapons that are floating as well, and all of them attack you at the same time, basically. And so it's actually really difficult if you don't know what you're doing with that fight. And then another form that he does is he kind of becomes like this skull snake thing, where he has his core exposed down here, but his head is up here. And he does like these really interesting like charge moves. And then he does like this shout attack that's like this really big area of effect that also hits your partner. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Excuse me.
I'm almost ready
Awesome.
to
Okay.
make my judgment. But before I do, I want you both to make closing statements. But specifically, I want you to tell me why your game is better
All right.
than the other game and why. So, Logan, you give your closing statement first.
My name is Dingo. No, it's Updog.
It's up, dog.
I'm Dingo.
I don't
coming.
even know your name.
Oh no, nobody knows who I am.
Lay up,
You
dog.
will know my
Give me your
name.
closing statement.
Okay. I think Luigi's Mansion is a better game. For one, I think it utilized everything it could get out of the GameCube. Like, yeah, Paper Mario Thousand Year was really good, but I think you could still play it on other systems, and you would still kind of get the same experience. The Luigi's Mansion is like unique to the GameCube. Everything about it is GameCube. I think like there isn't a game like kind of like you said, there isn't any game like it. They just built it from the ground up. So like it doesn't have as many problems that kind of are inherent to RPGs or like Paper Mario is great. I love how charming it is. I think it's like really unique for a Mario game to have that kind of sense of humor and style. But I mean it's still got a lot of problems that kind of came with that era of RPG. And I also feel like it feels like it, like you see like a Paper Mario, like Luigi's Mansion came back a lot of times throughout Mario. It kind of it gave Luigi his character, and it left like an imprint on a lot of the Mario franchise. Like you don't see any Paper Mario courses in Mario Kart or anything like themed around Paper Mario as much in these other games, but you still see like Luigi's Mansion keeps coming back. There's mini games in Mario Party, and there's courses in Mario Kart. And I think in subsequent, because of its like really good design, in subsequent sequels, some of them were a little different, like the second one was, but at their core they were still really good games. While with Paper Mario, it didn't really have its own unique design. Like they added some stuff into the RPG format, but at the same time, when they tried to like bring that back, it didn't come out as well.
All right.
Also, I think this is really quick. This little moment in the game that just gets me every time. Like throughout the game, you're turning ghosts into portraits. So there's this machine that you load them into that like turns them into portraits. When you finally get Mario's painting, like you take him down from the wall and you put him in the machine, and he goes in it reverse. So like you just see Mario, like his body just being pressed and like, like going through all this weird machines, like getting caught in gears and stuff, and like it spits him out finally. And Luigi's just like looking at his brother like laying on the floor, and he starts laughing. And he just keeps laughing because it's hilarious, and then he starts crying from relief. I've never seen like a more human moment from any Nintendo character ever. He's just crying because his brother's safe and everyone's okay at the end of the day. Like that's just something bringing that level of character, to Luigi, I think is something really special that only Luigi's Mansion can do.
My turn?
Okay.
Okay, well, for my closing argument, I want to say real quick, I'm sticking purely to my game and not other games because this is about the two games, not influences.
I understand.
So, Paper Mario is an amazing story that just, as the game progresses, not only do you get these beautiful little side parts of the story that add on to the main experience, but you're also building that main experience constantly with amazing gameplay, great ways to customize that gameplay, really cool character designs and dialogue that is specific to each character. You also have these really cool side quests you get to do. It's very replayable because it's all different depending on how you run through the game.
Right.
I mean, really, need I say more? It's a long game because there's a lot to do, and you're having fun so much you don't realize how long it is. Luigi's Mansion's really short. Luigi's Mansion has a few flaws that I think make this a more superior game, because even with the smaller things that he talked about how most of the RPGs had problems in that era, this game doesn't have a lot of those. A lot of those RPGs in that era had similar character designs a lot of the time, just because developers were just realizing, oh, people want more characters and they want everyone to look kind of different. This is one of the first games to do that. So just this game, in a way, kind of just, it changed how RPGs were seen. This changes how RPGs are played. So I'll make that my closing
What do
argument.
you think? How do you think it's better than Luigi's Mansion?
Well, kind of like I was saying, I think there's a lot more character in this. He was saying, yes, Luigi gets some character. Luigi gets character in Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door as well. You see him with his own book that he makes and writes, which completely retells his story, which he also tells you, and then his partner tells you he did the absolute other thing, which is hilarious. Most of the time, his stories are actually really funny. It gives character to Mario, which you don't see a lot. You see him kind of get embarrassed whenever Flurry comes up and kisses him. You see him get really happy whenever he sees Peach is finally safe. You see just a lot of different emotion from him you don't usually see. But then you also have your really cool cast of party members. So you see a lot more characterization, not specifically with one character, because I will give Luigi's Mansion that. It did an amazing job building Luigi what he is today. It does that.
A coward.
But, yeah, but I think this game did better with more characters building more life situations than Luigi's Mansion did as well. So, and also the gameplay to me isn't quite as repetitive because, as I said before, you can kind of customize it your own way you want to. So,
I want to give you guys both a chance to recant.
A rebuttal or
Rebuttal.
Yeah.
So, do you want to have a rebuttal? Make it
Uh,
as personal as possible.
as first
please.
as possible.
I was about
You're
to say,
ugly.
I knew
I think
it.
when I was talking about like problems Paper Mario as an RPG, I was talking more about like how slow turn-based combat is, how having to like grind at EXP and stuff like that, kind of forcing me to like get these badges if I want to do certain builds is kind of a pain. But yeah, I think I kind of covered that. As far as Luigi's Mansion being repetitive, I think of it as more of like you start out with some basic tools and the game forces you to like think about how you use them and get better and better as you play. I mean, you're not doing a different thing as the game goes out. You're just kind of getting better at it, which it's very different from like, Paper Mario because it's not an RPG. Yeah, you talk a lot about these characters that are in Paper Mario. None of them really came back though, and I think that's because this game is just weird. And not like a good, quirky Luigi's Mansion kind of way, just like it feels like all the Mario stuff that's in that's in Luigi's Mansion kind of fits with the rest of the Mario kind of franchise, but the stuff, like, it feels like they just made an RPG and kind of put Mario on it. Like, I feel like you could have Thousand Year Door and just, like, take out the Mario characters and put in, stand-ins. Like, it feels like more paper and less Mario. If that makes sense. Like, there's not... Sorry,
I get what you're
I'm
saying.
really tired. Also, as far as the paper goes, like, it doesn't feel like they took full advantage of the whole style of the game, of it
Okay.
being like the foreground, the background, everything being flat. That's a little bit, like they could have done more stuff with that, I think. I know this is kind of a disputed fact, but there is a fair bit of backtracking in this game, and it did annoy me a lot. Anything else? I think I got everything. Like, I think I've said my piece already.
Do you have a rebuttal?
sure, I'll kind of defend.
I'm
I
not
guess.
ugly before you say that. I
No,
got you.
you're
I blocked
stupid.
It. I blocked
Big
it.
difference.
Oh, no.
All right.
Got him.
He got
So-
me my other glaring weakness.
That's not my rebuttal. I'm
You're
sorry.
illiterate.
I love you. Anyway, so I'll go ahead and kind of talk again about the character thing. You say that they didn't come back, and that's true. But I mean, we saw how Remaster Thousand Year Door was one of the most popular trending hashtags on Twitter this summer. People love this game. People want this game to come back. Luigi's Mansion did come back on the
Yeah.
3DS, and it was bad.
And the Switch. I think
Well,
the
3D.
Okay.
I'm saying in terms not Dark Moon. I'm not talking about Dark Moon.
Let's
I'm
not
talking about the remake
Listen,
of Luigi's
Buster,
Mansion.
let's not bring up your sequels. You want to talk about your sequels?
I'm not talking about sequels. I'm talking about remakes.
You're bringing up my sequels.
No,
don't
I am
appreciate
not.
it.
I'm bringing up Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS, not Dark Moon.
I actually think that one's better.
Really?
They did some
Anyways,
stuff.
okay, yeah. Well, we can talk about that later.
Sure.
But anyways, they remade that, and a lot of people, granted, you say it was good, a lot of people didn't like it because it was a console game. It was supposed to be on a console. Made sense. But you see the love that people still harbor for the 1,000-Year Door. People are still clamoring for what we like you were saying. There are weaker sequels in the Paper Mario series.
Right.
I'm not gonna say anything but that because that's truth. But people are still wanting a true sequel to 1,000-Year Door to this day. People want the same style of characters from that game to come back.
Right.
The people want that. So
Yeah.
I'll kind of make that my rebuttal because I think everything else kind of spoke for itself.
Why do you think they haven't brought it back then?
Well, if you don't remember, Nintendo, this is whenever Sticker Star had just kind of released.
Yeah.
They had an interview with a intelligent systems rep who said that the 1,000-Year Door was going to be the main RPG series for Nintendo, and they were going to start shifting Paper Mario into more of a action adventure game. And so, but the thing is, and this is what a lot of people have been deducing, because, which this is sad, but since Alpha Dream did kind of get, what's the word again, bankrupt,
Yeah.
a lot of people are assuming that they're going to probably bring back some Paper Mario RPG elements.
I was
So.
yeah, I was asking more of like as far as the design of Paper Mario and like the like I think like Paper Mario is great, but I think it's kind of done a disservice in the fact that they stuck Mario on it because now they don't really know what to do with this Paper Mario stuff because it doesn't fit with the rest of the Mario they're trying to make. I think the game is kind of clumsy in that like the themes of the paper and the Mario don't fit together with the rest of the Mario franchise.
The paper is really just an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think it should have been more.
Just
I think this game could have been like I don't know, some
paper, like origami Mario,
super
or?
paper updog adventure. That's what it could have been. But instead,
Okay.
we got this half baked 1,000-Year
think-
Door nonsense.
Honestly, I feel like they did a lot with the paper aesthetic too. You were talking about that, and like you were saying, you go back and forth with the foreground and the background and where you are.
Yeah.
And then also you have the paper transformations and things like that. Oh, he's shutting down. Okay, but you have a lot of stuff like that. You do have paper elements in the game.
Sure.
Now, I kind of agree with you in a way. I think they could have done more with the paper aesthetic. They could have done a lot more. But I think they did enough, considering how much they did with everything else in the game. The paper aesthetic is, like I said, just an aesthetic. So they didn't even really have to touch that, but they still did. So that's kind of my rebuttal. I'm going to stop rebuttaling.
I think we both said
that's all
about
I've got.
I think we both said about as much, probably a little bit more
Yeah.
than we should have.
Oh, he's muted.
Oh, no.
You're muted, bud.
We're going to take a song break. We'll be right back.
Tank.
We're going to listen to Tank by the Seatbelts. And I will be back with you presently to make my decision.
Dude, we made this hard for him. Like,
yeah,
I think we
could
both did
tell.
an excellent
He's
job.
like, please give me more. I cannot compute. Give me more data.
I feel like I kind of overloaded him.
Maybe.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Logan, tell me when I'm on the play button.
You are on the
All
play
right.
button.
We'll be right back. Let's get you listen to Tank by Seatbelts. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial, please. Please don't. You gotta hear who won the dogfight.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
We never transitioned. Oh well.
Oh no,
It's
they could
okay.
see us the whole time.
They saw me talking the whole time.
I don't know who I'm gonna be.
Oh no.
Hey, honestly, if this has to be like the first draw,
No,
I wouldn't
we're
be
not
upset.
having a draw. We're
Okay.
not cowards here at the dog.
One will stand.
One has to
We
die.
aren't cowards like
I have to
Luigi.
put-
I got
I have
you.
to put the bullet in one of them.
You gotta kill one.
I gotta kill one.
Jeez.
Dude, that's actually crazy. We don't have to. Let's think about this.
No, I have to kill one.
This is. I mean, honestly.
What can we do to make this easier? Are there any other
give
questions
me
you
a,
have?
Give me a second.
Yeah, I think we just need to let him think. We gave him a
alright.
lot of
Oh, man.
information.
I know we're not supposed to have empty airtime, but like,
I think we can just kind of fill
Yeah.
it. We can fill the airtime while you think. If you need to,
You
just
know-
take your headset off and just.
What's a game that's better than
think.
both of these, do you think?
a game better than both?
Monster
of
Hunter.
these.
That's an easy question. Sorry.
We're talking to each other. Thank you. You keep thinking about the who's gonna win. This is a question between.
Yeah,
Ugh.
okay.
Okay,
Uh-oh,
so
here we go.
Oh gosh, no. Oh, I'm terrified.
Oh
Oh,
no. Oh no.
I am terrified as to what he's about to say. He may be thinking
know.
harder. He may be thinking harder than you had to for Kingdom Hearts versus Monster Hunter.
Hey,
I may be
before-
making him think
I
harder
didn't
than
make that a hard decision.
Before-
I tried to argue for the old games. I should have argued for the new ones.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
before
fair.
before you make your decision, please take note. There are 37 different ways Luigi screams for Mario in this game.
37?
37 based on like you
Like
press the
pitches and stuff? Or?
no, based on like the different situations he's in, like in his level of health. There's like 37 different screams for Mario. It's pretty cool. I didn't.
Charles
find all-
Martinet must have been there for like
I
a
know.
while or something.
Yeah,
Daggum.
they added a bunch
Yeah.
of new ones for the.
There's a lot of really good music in Thousand Year Door, though. I want to say
That's
that.
true.
That's
I've got one really good track that's played in like 8 different cool ways.
yeah, but
Yeah.
and that's a good track. I'm not gonna lie, I love that
No,
track.
It's fun. It's fire.
But-
I'm ready to make my decision.
Okay.
Oh, you ready? Oh goodness. Okay. Is he ready to make his decision?
Luigi's man.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
bum bum bum
Now,
bum bum
allow me to
Turn-based
qualify.
RPG.
No, it actually sounds like a cool turn-based RPG. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The size of it is daunting,
Okay.
and I'm just thinking, this turn-based RPG, the way you're describing it, sounds a little bit. It's probably different, but it sounds a little bit like Bowser's Inside Story and those kind of games.
Okay.
Those games were kind of based on.
It sounds a little bit like how you would press the
Yeah.
buttons in that,
Mm-hmm.
and those are fun, and that's why I was like, man, this actually sounds really fun. But the idea of like different ghosts for each room. Excellent.
Nice.
The idea
points.
for different ghosts for each room and how there's like a variance. I may not play it again, but I don't know if I want to go through the same scenarios. Like, there's a lot of variants that you can do in Thousand Year Door, but I don't know if I'm ready to go through this really long game just to play through it a different way. It's. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're saying.
It's
yeah.
not that I'm sliding it. I'm more picking like which game I'd rather like sit
This is
down and
literally.
play.
It's like I said earlier. There's really not a loser. It's
And,
just
like,
a winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the excitement and the atmosphere, because the 3D game, it was. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the atmosphere would have really won me over. So I think Luigi's Mansion is gonna pull it out.
Yeah. I sucked up another win. Like a vacuum cleaner. That's me.
Didn't beat Crash Bandicoot though.
No, I didn't. How did that happen? Actually.
I mean,
How did this happen? What are you talking about?
Well, I know how this happened.
This one makes zero sense to me,
This
but
is
I also
excellent.
completely respect your opinion.
It's
so
not. Yeah, I'm
that's
sorry.
my thing.
I feel,
No.
I feel bad.
I totally understand.
never
First
really-
time I felt
I understand
bad.
how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
feel whenever Monster Hunter lost. Now I feel that.
We always bring
That is
it.
me.
We always bring it really hard whenever we have like a personal attachment to these
I
games.
still
Yeah.
really want to do the Monster Hunter one again. But
I'm playing through Thousand Year
can't.
Door.
Let's
after
run it
I
back.
leave.
I can't
I'm,
do it.
I'm playing through Thousand Year Door. I must go.
All right. No, wait. I want to say you guys both did a really good job. I am sorry. I felt really bad because you both have really good connection to this game.
Yeah.
We both had personal this is personal stuff.
We kept telling each other like this. There's no personal feelings
There's
involved in this one, and then we
absolutely
both
personal
laugh
feelings.
and stare at each other like.
That's what we did for Monster Hunter.
I
and
know.
Kingdom Hearts.
I just sit there watching.
But-
Okay, so now we need you two to fight for your lives, and I need to break him. So
Well,
you
now
need to bring
you've
an
already,
argument.
You've already. There's no suspense to it, so he alrety knows what's going to
I already know you're
it's
biased.
a joke. It's a joke. It's like,
Oh boy.
I really,
just
I
stop.
really would like to do. I don't want to do Monster Hunter versus.
Actually, I kind of did
I
that.
do want to do it, but I don't want to feel. It's not because I'm salty.
Didn't I do that with Silent Hill and Resident Evil? Actually, now that I think about it.
We did do Silent Hill versus Resident Evil.
And you won, right?
I believe I won
Yeah.
because I argued about the psychological horror.
Yep.
It's because
And then you thought I was crazy.
I
and was
argue
like, yeah.
in ways that are unconventional that people wouldn't think of. Cause,
Mhm.
and that's what lost me the Monster Hunter argument. Because you came thinking, oh, he's going to argue for Monster Hunter World. And I should have done that.
I know. I was like, I was bringing all the stuff from Monster Hunter
Yeah.
World, and you're like, in the old game, I went,
I think it was that one. I think it was similar to this one, where I was like, both of these look like I'm not sure how into either of these I would get, but like the idea of going on this long, drawn out hunt and learning all these systems and stuff, I was like, that was pretty daunting
Yeah.
at the
Mhm.
time.
I think I have a completely
Yeah.
different way I would have argued it now when thinking back.
I should have gone more for like a kid can play this,
I feel
and
like
it's like
we-
simple enough a child understands.
I feel like
I
we
should have
didn't.
done that.
I feel like we didn't. Do you want to do a run back? We can both make a new argument.
I'm not doing that again.
You're
I
not doing that
refuse.
again?
I was about to
I
say,
refuse. It's over.
I'm not even saying that purely. I just don't want to argue Kingdom Hearts again.
Okay.
Just let it
Until there's
go.
until there's a new game, I'm
today,
fine being there.
Luigi's Mansion stands tall.
I did it. It's Luigi time.
I'm gonna
Thousand Year Door
download.
is dead in the dirt.
I was about to say I'm about to download when I get home
no.
You killed it.
a firewall, and
You had to do that.
my
It had to be done.
1,000-year door is gonna live. So
All right. So next week? I think we're gonna do coverage over the BlizzCon.
BlizzCon.
I think we should just do another dogfight.
Overwatch
maybe
2.
we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't last as long as this one, because holy crap,
This
we're,
one we
we're
brought
an extra hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna just do top of the hour and then a brief BlizzCon thing, or maybe we're definitely gonna cover BlizzCon. We might do a dogfight.
Hmm.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
We'll
see what
see.
we got on the docket for dogfights and maybe. Yeah.
So tune in next time to hear Husky say. All right, bye.
You guys have been listening to Doghouse. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll be back same time, same bat time, same bat channel. 3:10 to 4:10 probably. We'll try to be done by that time. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Don't believe him, he's salty.
you guys have been listening to Doghouse with Husky, Dingo, and Updog. This is the Dog Pack signing
Yee.
out.
Dog Pack House.